Press conference with head coach Bob Motzko and student athletes Nick Dowd and David Morley. We'll start with an opening statement from head coach Bob Motzko.
We had a great overtime. Give Farragher some credit. He held us in there and made the big save in overtime on the breakaway. It wasn't a pretty 3 periods. You got to credit, Notre Dame. They played outstanding tonight. They had a game plan. They stuck to it. They got it deep, and we just could not get going. And then I wish I could tell you we made these great changes in overtime, but then we played in overtime. And Nick makes a great play, and we score a goal. And you're right, there's not much you can say about it. The best thing is we hung around there, and Farragher was strong when he can. We did get a few sticks on some plays, and the couple key plays that we made ended up being so critical for us. Coastland on the first goal, sliding into the back door, and a great forecheck, one of our only forechecks of the game, with Thorson, Bennick, and both winning battles down below the goal line and getting it out to Birch. So they end up being just big plays for us, and you're right, we'd love to fight another day.
Questions for the student athletes? Start in the third row right there.
I guess this would go out for either of you. Coach Motzko just said he didn't know really what changed in overtime. You guys were on the ice. What changed?
Nick, do you want to start?
Sure. It's not like Coach came in and said anything different in between periods. Like he said, nothing really changed, and we didn't implement too many changes in our forecheck, back check, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's something that can't be taught, and I just think we played a little bit of urgency in the overtime. That for us seniors, this is it, and I know the younger guys don't want to let us down, and we don't want to let them down either. So.
Question here in the front.
Well, David, you kind of started that play, that Dick got the game winner on. Just talk a little bit about the play. Obviously, they're kind of breaking out. What kind of happened?
Yeah, that was one of our things that all year we've done pretty well. Our neutral zone forecheck, we've been able to cause some turnovers. That was one of the things we were kind of waiting for today. I think it was John's got the puck and kind of got him at a weird angle and forced him to handle the puck the way he didn't want to. And once I got it, I heard Dow just yelling, flying down the wall there, and I just passed it to him, stood there and watched him work his magic there, and next thing I knew it was going in the top corner. So yeah, it was just one of those things, just quick turnover and just bumped it over to him.
Next question for the student athletes. Right there.
Nick, can you talk about your game-winning goal? Did you plan going top shelf on his left side the whole time? Did you see something open at that time, or did you just rip one?
I was telling Dave I kind of lost mobility in my entire body after that went in, so it's tough for me to say what I was trying to do there. I know Dave did make a great play in the neutral zone. Kind of bumped it over to me, and we were fortunate to get in. And at this point, any shot's a good shot, and I think I was pretty fortunate. I think it hit his stick and found the top shelf. So just happy to be here another day.
Next question right here in the front.
Hey Nick, David, just want to talk about how important it is for you guys to finish off periods. You guys scored 2 goals with under a minute left, and not having things go your way for most of the periods.
Yeah, that was huge for us, especially kind of the way we were playing. We weren't too happy with our effort, and to get a couple big goals at the end of each period to get us a lead, those are huge, especially games like this. Can really lift the spirits of the guys when you're struggling out there, and both those were big for us.
Yeah, those are killers. We've been on the fighting end of that. Look at Miami last week. They scored 2 seconds left in the game. It's pretty crippling. That happened to be the end. This happened to be the first and the second. But those are big goals, and you go into the period ahead as opposed to being tied and not playing your best hockey. So we were fortunate.
Next question for the student athletes.
David, can you explain how emotionally and physically draining a game like this is when you guys are do or die and you guys are hanging on there and just the physicality that this game had and where you guys are right now?
Yeah, I mean, it is draining. At the end of the day, despite that effort, we got the job done, and the guys are for sure a little tired, but at this time of the year, that's behind. Yeah, everyone's tired, and that doesn't really affect anyone. You get in these do or die games, you always seem to find the energy no matter what the situation, whether we went to 4 OTs today or blew them out. The guys are going to find energy, and that's just what you got to do at this time of the year.
Question here in the second row.
Either Luke or David, how big was Ryan Farragut for you guys, and what does it do for your confidence where maybe you guys feel maybe you're getting outplayed a bit, but he's keeping the puck out of the net?
Yeah, you know, he's been our rock all year. Obviously, as with the rest of our team, we had a kind of bumpier second half, but first half he was there for us, put us in a position to make it to where we are now. And obviously, I mean, that breakaway save in overtime doesn't get any better than that. Gives us new life, and a couple minutes later we're able to tuck one in. But I can't speak, you know, I don't know, there's a lack of words for what I feel about Fenzi at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's been there all year, and that breakaway there was just such a big point, obviously a huge point in the game. But he's done that all year, huge saves at huge times, and that's what we needed. We got the bounce a few minutes later, and that was good for us.
Any final questions for the student athletes? Second to last row there.
For David, I know you guys have been in this situation going into tomorrow night's game with the Gophers in the championship game at the North Star Cup. How much have you guys thought about that kind of redemption with another chance here at Excel?
Well, I mean, all week we were focused on Notre Dame. We had a tough opponent tonight. We knew it was going to be a grind, and we needed to get through that first. Obviously, we're going to get a rest tonight, wake up tomorrow, and have a meeting with the coaching staff, and we'll go over the Gophers when the time comes. But at this point of the year, it's do or die. Doesn't matter who we're playing. We got to bring our A game, and that stuff from Christmas, it doesn't matter right now. It's just bringing your A game and taking it a game at a time here.
Did you have a final question right there?
Nick, as a senior leader, can you describe what finally clicked in overtime? You guys only had 12 shots on goal through 3 periods, and then you pulled out 14 shots on goal in 17 minutes of play in overtime. What, as a senior leader, what actually happened or transpired in overtime that didn't happen, obviously, in the first 3 periods?
I don't know. I'm sure Coach wish he knew too. But yeah, I mean, I said it earlier. Guys playing with a little bit of urgency, and I think it started out with our first shift. We had 2 shots on goal right away, and obviously we had a hard time finding the net all night. You know, to tell you the truth, I had no clue. I think there was a calm sense on the bench. We kind of felt guys were playing well, whereas I felt the first couple periods guys were a little antsy and you know, eager to get on each other as we're not getting pucks deep and stuff like that. But I have no clue. I mean,
we've been a pretty good team all year. The real question is, you know, we have to look back why we're so quiet the first thing. We scored quite a few goals this year, and we have a team capable of doing what we did in overtime, and it just started to work. Maybe, you know, we've been off for 2 weeks. Maybe it took us a while to wake up. You know, why overanalyze it? Let's move on.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Davey. You can head back to the locker room. Question for Coach Motzko. We'll start right here in the first row.
Bob, talk about getting Andrew Prochnow back for tonight's game and the impact he had on your game.
That's one of the bright spots we were talking about in the coach's room between a couple of the periods, and that he didn't look rusty. He had a great jump. He got back to pucks. He had 2 good weeks of practice, and that is a big plus for us.
Next question. Nick?
Bob, a few years ago, you guys had a double overtime, you guys had to come back and play the next day. What are things, I guess, are gonna be important for, trying to get the motor going again tomorrow?
I'm gonna say a few things that I hope are true. One, we've been off for 2 weeks, so, we should be fresh because we haven't played for 2 weeks mentally. It was a tough game tonight, but, we didn't really play real hard for 3 periods, so we might have something left in our tank. We're gonna hope that. The biggest thing right now is we just need to have the guys back at the hotel and shut down obviously it's been a big concern when you do go into overtime in these terms and have to turn around tomorrow and we play an hour and a half, 2 hours earlier, or hour and a half, 2 hours earlier, and so it's a short turnaround. That's definitely an advantage to the opponent, but we're gonna have to put a lot into our guys right now, that there's enough left in the tank that we can play a very smart hockey game tomorrow night and have enough in the tank.
Question right there.
Bob, you always talk about it's not necessarily the amount of shots that you take, but the quality of shots you take, and you certainly had 3 of those in regulation. Can you talk a little bit about what was being discussed in the first and second intermissions and the overtime intermission of trying to solve on how to break through Notre Dame's defense and the way they were playing?
Well, it was, like I said, it was us, and we did have a lead there a couple times, and both those, and we just kept thinking, okay, we're gonna get better. And the one key factor I will say that I believed on the bench is the players weren't frustrated. The coaches were, but the players were not. And I think they had a puzzled look and that probably might have been a critical factor where they were able to find it there as the game wore on in the overtime. We just didn't have good legs. We weren't making passes. We missed the net. I think if we'll look back on this, on one power play, we missed 4 times. I think we missed the net at least a dozen times tonight. And something that we just did not need to be doing, and we need to put pucks on this guy. So there were things happening. They didn't get frustrated. They stuck with it. Like I said, those key goals were huge for us because we were in front of the game. I mean, we never fell behind in the game. And that is so critical in one and done tournaments, to not play from behind, especially against a team like Notre Dame, because they are so good. They're even better with the lead, and they had to open it up a little bit, and we waited for the right time to end the game.
Other questions? Here in the second row.
Just how big was Ryan Fager and buying your team enough time to figure things out?
Well, you're going to have to, all of us are going to have to tip our hat to Ryan, because he saw a lot of shots out there. He looked strong. He's been under the weather here the last couple of days, and he just looked very strong in there and didn't seem to wear down at all. He stayed strong mentally, and third year with us, we've seen many games out of Ryan like that. There's a whole lot of confidence in that locker room for him.
Any final questions for Coach Motzko? We'll go right there.
Coach Holland, do you savor this win in the way that you won it before you get ready for tomorrow?
Our guys understand. I mean, there's great celebration in overtime, but I think by the time they were in the locker room, within a few minutes, you have to park it quickly and start to get back preparing yourself. And the biggest thing for us is rest, and that's all we talked about right now. Our fluids, rest, get back to the hotel, get in your rooms. That's all you can do. And we're battle tested. We've been in some big games the last few years. Our guys know what's at stake. We'll find a way to be here tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.